I have a book I'm going to bind with 3 signatures. So how do I figure out where the holes go on the spine? I will show you. So I have this little template that is the same size as the spine. So the first thing you're going to do is fold it in half, which can be kind of hard because it's tiny. So I folded it in half. I can go ahead and also just put a little line there. And then I also want to get 2 other lines. So I need to like bring my ruler in and see where the other lines would go. And so I'm just going to do this where it's going to be 1/8 of an inch apart because of the size of this. If you were doing one with a larger spine or like thicker paper, then you might do these further apart, but it's just 3 equally spaced lines within the size of your spine. Okay, so this is the 3 spots where the signatures will be sewn along those 3 lines. And so now we need to figure out where the holes are gonna be. So we're gonna see that this is about 5 1/4 tall. So we'll go 2 1/8, and that'll be our middle hole. And so we'll just mark little spots right here. And then we'll go 1 1/2 in. Well, let's just do 1 inch. We'll go 1 inch in from the end and do 3 holes. And then the other side, 1 inch in. So now my holes are equally spaced. And I did, you can see, maybe I did mark that with a T for the top, right? So when you're punching your holes, you want to always line up the top always at the top, right? So like that's the top of this. And then the top of the papers, you have to keep them all oriented so that your holes will line up. And so now you want to flip your book over and you're going to punch your holes from this side. And I'll show you why in just a second, but punching my holes. Okay, and the reason why is because if you look at this side, let me see if I can show you guys. You can kind of see there that they're like sticking out. They're not flat. And so if you did that going the other direction, they'd be poking out of your book. So this way they're on the inside and nobody's going to see them, right? So then you also want to take your papers, and this is why you folded this little thing in half, right? Is because now it will fit. Let me refold it. It'll fit right in this little crease. And we're just going to, the paper's a little bit shorter than the book. So we're gonna try to make it like right in the middle. And then we're gonna poke the hole. And we're gonna go through each of the 3 holes. And we're gonna do that for every signature. And remember to keep your paper oriented correctly so that you're not getting the top and the bottom mixed up. And honestly, I should have put some paper clips on these to keep the paper from sliding around. If it slides around a little bit, it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a little bit harder to bind it. So let me do that. Okay. And you don't need these. You can have other kinds of clips, right? You can have like binder clips. You could do it without clips if you wanted. Okay, there we go. Good. Oh, see? Forget the paper clip again. And actually, I just learned about these paper clips not that long ago, maybe like 2 months ago. So I've been binding books without them for years. But they are fun to have. They're colorful and they help hold your papers together. All right, so there's my 3 signatures. And now I'm ready to start sewing. So I will pick one of these. And I like to go from the outside and have the strings on the outside. So, you know, you could do it on the inside too if you wanted. So I'm just doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch for each of the signatures. Oh, see, this is why we want paper clips, because sometimes the papers shift around. But if they do, no big deal. You can just go 1 paper at a time over your needle. It just takes a little bit more time and patience. Sometimes that's what we need to practice, right? Okay, so let me hold this string. We're going to leave a little tail. You can hold on to that tail with your hand if you want. And you're going to go back through the next hole. Make sure that you are selecting the right hole in your spine. The other day I did one and I did here and then the second hole on both of those, and I had to take it out and redo it. That's kind of frustrating. So try not to do that. Okay, let's see. There we go. So you're just kind of weaving in and out, in and out. Then when you get all the way down, so you want an odd number of holes. I did 3. You could do 5 or 7. Then you're going to start coming back and you go through the same holes. And then when you are to this point, you just tie it. So you're going to do what's called a square knot. So you tie it and then you tie it a second time and pull. And then you snip. And now you have 1/3 of your book is bound. So when you're doing your string, I always do 3 or about 2.5-ish links of the spine. You will end up with a little extra. So you could be a little bit more stingy if you want, but sometimes it's better to have extra left over so you're not trying so hard to pull and use minimal string. Sometimes it'll be difficult. So here we go on the second one. I'm just gonna go in that next hole. And I think my paper slid around again. Okay, well, we're gonna take that off. We're just gonna go one at a time again. Not a big deal. Okay. Here we are. We're gonna watch, make sure we don't let our tail come too far in. Okay, so we're in our first hole. We're gonna go back out the next one. Got stuck. There we go. And then into that last one. Sometimes it's really hard to pull your needle through like that, so I like to have a little pliers to grab it. And that just means that my hole wasn't poked big enough for my needle. It's not really a big deal at all. So then I'm all the way down. I'm gonna go back through the other direction that I just came. There we go. And I'm ready to tie again. So pretty simple. We'll do one last one so you guys can see it again. So tying, right? Tied a knot. Tied a second knot. And then snip it. I'm gonna make all these a little shorter too. Okay, and you can, if you want, to leave, sometimes I do this. Sometimes I leave really long threads on there. I make it extra long and I leave them like that so that I can put beads on and have a decorative aspect to the journal. I was trying to see if I had one up here to show you guys, but I do not have one available to show you, but you could totally do that. You just leave this long, stick some beads on it. As long as the beads are wide enough for your book binding thread, you'll be okay. All right, last one. All right, here we go. We're going in from the top. In through the top hole of our paper. Okay. Ow, poked myself. Try not to poke yourself. Okay, we make sure we don't pull too much of our tail in. We're going into, out of that next hole, out of the spine. Pull it tight in that last one. Out through the middle again. It's pretty fast if you only do 3 holes, which is why I like doing 3 holes. Okay, there we are. So then I just need to tie this last knot. And we got 1 and 2, and then we'll snip it short. And now you have a book with 3 signatures, evenly spaced. There you are. Hope you guys enjoy.